Hey everybody, welcome to WatchDotTV, and I'm really excited because this month we're focusing on small businesses, and when they asked me, who do you know who knows small businesses, I said, I got just the lady, and today we have the super talented small town expert, Becky McCray. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here today.
So tell everybody who you are and what you do.
My name is Becky McCray. I'm from a small town in Oklahoma, and I run a retail liquor store and a cattle ranch. I'm sure everybody is just the same. And then I do some work online. I write and speak about small business from small towns, and all that wraps up together into multiple lines of income, which is one of the things that we do in small towns.
Amen to that. So we're hoping that people that are starting out getting involved online and small and medium businesses are going to watch this. What do you think, why is it important for a small and medium business to have their own domain today? I mean, let's face it, because you can set up, a Facebook page or a YouTube account, but, why is it important to own your own, and it doesn't, if it's a .com, .tv, .net, whatever it is, why is it important for a small business to have their own website?
It's important for the same reason that it's important to own everything about your business. Now, you may rent a business space, but you're always at risk for what happens when the owner of that space changes their mind. If you have a long-term lease, you're subject to those lease terms. Online, owning your own domain is like owning your real estate. It's like owning your store building. That's the place where customers come to associate with you. That's the thing that when they think of you, they think of that place. And that is true online as well as it is in person. So if I were to move my store from one location to another, that would be really hard for my customers to adapt to. I mean, you lose customers anytime you make a move. And the same is true online. When you make a move online from you were set up at GeoCities and then you moved over to, to the next whatever it was. And then every time you move, you lose people. And so it's important that you pick your own space online and you set up your flag there, because it matters a whole lot how customers think of you.
GeoCities, wow, old school. That's where my first website was, on GeoCities.
I had some old AOL space pages, and I had some hosting that was through the dial-up provider that I had originally. Wow. And yeah, I've got some really old websites.
Nice.
They're all gone, I hope.
So I know one of the things that you do that I love is the brag basket. And so can you explain what that is? And then, how could online video play into the brag basket? Because I don't think many people brag using video on that, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I don't think anybody's ever sent me a video brag. Well, hey, this is an opportunity. Brag basket every Friday at smallbizsurvival.com. That's my site that's focused on small town business. Every Friday, I open it up and say, what was your good news this week? So it's a secret trick to make you actually review your week and see how did things go, so that you can then improve. Because if you never stop and look back, you just keep, hacking away at the business. That's one of the things we tend to do in a small business. So you review your week and you say, oh, we do have some good news. Or there's somebody I want to brag about, somebody that's done something great in my community, somebody that's doing something terrific in business, and I want to brag on them. And it's just an open comment thread. And so anybody can drop in and say what's going on wonderful in their business. And it's more about people than it is about things. So it's not like, hey, I want to come and advertise my new thing. It's more about, hey, I want to tell you about this person, or I want to tell you what we've done and why it matters to me as a person. Video-wise, a small business could so easily adapt this to catch testimonials. When people are happy with you, you could say, hey, could we put that in our brag basket? And you pull out your video, whatever video tool you're using, and you say, you want to make it something small and not something intimidating, because if you've got the big shoulder mount, NBC News Jim Long is here to videotape you. That's not what you want. You want just something small and not too scary, and say, hey, we want to get that for the brag basket. And that does not sound threatening at all. That's not like saying, hey, we would like a testimonial that we can compile and place with our other promotional materials. Jump in our brag basket. Sounds friendly,
Right. So now tell us about your book. You wrote this great, I love it, called, I want to make sure I get the whole title right, Small Town Rules, How Small Business and Big Brands Can Prosper in a Connected Economy. I wrote it down because I know the short title, but I think it's a great book that any small business should be paying attention to, but, you explain it.
Small town rules. It is what we've figured out in small towns. Is, when I introduced myself, I said, okay, retail liquor store, cattle ranch, online business, speak and write about small town business, multiple lines of income. That's one of the small town rules. It's one of the things that we do to survive in a small town. And that becomes essential. So let's just look at my life. So if the liquor laws change and something happens with the liquor store, what do I do? Well, I actually have other businesses to fall back on. So I'm never thrown completely out by any one small change. And that's just one of the small town rules. The others are things that I think you'll recognize, especially if you grew up in a small town, you will recognize these. One of them is to spend your brain power before your dollars, because we were all taught by that frugal grandmother, the one who said, don't throw that away, we can use it.
Yep.
Yes, this is essential for small business today. We've all got to be frugal. There's plan for zero. This is one that gets lost so much today. We're so excited about the big score and the quick and easy ways to make money that we forget that there will be times when you'll have a zero income. You'll have a 0 month, you'll have a 0 quarter, and if you live long enough, you'll have 0 years. So how you plan for that makes the difference of whether you survive or not when it comes around. So those are the economic small town rules. We talk about the technology and how much it has changed our ability. At my store, every customer can talk to every other customer. Well, that's true for everybody now.
Yep.
So how do you survive that? One of the small town rules is about how you treat every customer, knowing that everybody's going to find out any way that you treat a customer. So the small town rules are all about that. The ones that get a lot of attention now from big companies are the last two, which is about remaining small even as you make a large impact. People think about, well, I don't really want to grow and become too big. Well, we talk about a couple of ways that you can still keep something that feels small and works small, but makes a big difference in the world. And then the last one is being local. And with shop local, we hear shop local all the time, and local food and local art, and we're all thinking more local. It's because we as people are so much more interested in what's going on in our own backyard, and that translates into how your customers spend their money. So every company now needs to be thinking about how do you connect with what's local.
Sure. So where does video fit into that for a small business in today's world who, doesn't have a lot of time, doesn't have a lot of resources? But where does video fit into their social media strategy as they go forward?
That's a really good question. It's a part of local connections. That's a great important thing, is that building that local connection involves not just using some video within your own business, but also what are you doing to connect with the larger community? It's a great idea. As you go do the rest of your life in your community, take your video camera with you and connect with what's going on in your community. So that's not adding something else you have to do. That's just making more of what you're already doing. And then we're talking about how your customers can connect. Every one of your customers talks to every other one of your customers. Be part of that conversation. Join in. It's not that difficult to take a question that anyone asks you, whether they walked into your building and asked you, or they emailed and asked you, or they sent you a carrier pigeon with a question on it. Take the question, answer it on video, and share it with the whole world. If one person asked, then 100 more are asking the same question. They just haven't told you that yet.
Right, for sure. Now, do you have an example of someone who's doing it really well, or, not necessarily a case study, but, what's a small business that's using video really well that you've seen?
Okay. United Linen Company in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, which is not what you would think of in terms of a highly connected business. They're a clean linen company for restaurants. They send a route truck around with linens and tablecloths and napkins and uniforms for the restaurant. They drop off clean laundry, pick up the dirty laundry, and go wash it and take it back.
Huh.
Now, how do they use video? They have for a long time used video to let customers know when the schedule is going to change. If there's holidays coming up, restaurants need to know what's with the new schedule. Now, forever, what they've done is just take the regular invoice, flip it over, and put the information on the back.
Right.
That way everybody has it. Yeah, well, you know what happens with those invoices? They go in the stack with all other invoices that come into the business. People miss it. So they started adding different ways they do that. They share it on Twitter, they mention it on Facebook, and their marketing guy, which is Scott Townsend from United Linen, every time he has a whiteboard and he goes out and he draws a calendar and he says, if your order was coming on Tuesday, it's going to be on Monday. And you know what? They'll watch the video, and then people are not surprised and caught short on materials. Another one that I can think of is in Destin, Florida. There's a wonderful company that does boat rentals, Destin Boat Rentals. and they do terrific job with video. You know, they're constantly shooting video. If they've got one on how to drive a boat, you know,
it's important.
It's important. And you know, they have pontoon boats, and people go, well, is that different than my regular boat? So how to drive a pontoon boat, hugely popular video that they've done, and extremely useful for customers.
For sure.
You know? And so if you think about, you know, doing the calendar and sharing answers that customers have to their questions, and how to drive a pontoon boat, okay, it doesn't look that scary, I think I can do it. Both of those are great examples of things that any business can do. Somebody's asking you questions, answer them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a theme that I think I've seen through these interviews is every business has questions to answer. And you could write them. You could definitely write a blog post or something, but you could also sit down for 5 minutes and look into a camera and record your answer.
And if you'll go show, then it's 20 times better. 20 times better. And especially, I mean, one thing that I think I see businesses struggle with on video is that they'll take somebody that knows a ton and they'll back them up against a wall like they're an ex-convict and shoot them that way and say, now tell us about snow tires. And the guy will go, well, snow tires are extremely important because they help you to have better traction. And meanwhile, the audience is just going,
yeah, nobody wants to watch that.
If you will take the same guy out in the field with a car and have him point at the tire and explain to you, he can do it. And it'll be interesting. And you'll be like, I didn't never know that about snow tires. How did he explain that? Because he'll show you about the tread and the pattern and how it grips the road. And because if you'll just let him get away from the wall and into the field, then that person can share so much more of what they know, so much more of their personality. And it is so much more effective than when you line them up against the wall like a bunch of convicts. That's not the plan.
I agree. So I need one amazing parting tip so for that small business watching right now and is like, okay, I've got the video thing and I can answer questions. What's some other advice you would give them to get started with video right now?
To get started right now, grab your camera, take a customer question, and go answer it in the field, in the actual setting, whatever the actual setting is. If you can get out into a customer's business and show how it works, then that is worth 10 times as much as you just sitting at your desk and answering a question. If you can, like the pontoon boat, if they had like shown a picture of a pontoon boat and the guy described it, that would not work. Go do it. Go do whatever it is you're wanting to show. So the more you can put the action and the actual event together and put that on the video, you're going to share so much more value with your customers.
Great advice. So thank you again, Becky McCray, the small town expert. She's awesome. I love her. That should be your tagline, the small town expert. Where can people find you online?
Well, I'm at BeckyMcCray.com. 2 C's in McCray, as you know, just in your honor there, Mr. C.C. And at BeckyMcCray.com, you can find links to Small Biz Survival, which is where the small town stuff is, and then Small Town Rules, which is where the book is. And I've been told lately that I am always on Twitter, so you can find me on Twitter at Becky McCray.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll link to it all in the show notes. Thank you, Becky. To everybody watching the video, WatchDotTV has tons of how-to videos, so if you've been inspired and you're scared to death of lighting, you know, my bad lighting here because it's nighttime or other things, go read. We got lots of videos. Watch and figure out how to do. And we'll see you next time right here on WatchDotTV.